My name is Cecil Bull. I'm standing on the property which is on the corner of Crown and Good Street, Harris Park. I was born in 1941, 80 years ago. The name of the property then was called Hillcrest, and it was a maternity hospital in the war years. I come back today to reminisce the house I was born in, and it's still as elegant as what it was the day it was built. It was built probably around 1903. My mother brought me home from the maternity hospital. I didn't live very far from where the maternity hospital is. It's in 46 Station Street, Harris Park, which is one of the oldest houses in Station Street, Harris Park. It was built in 1879, adjacent to terrace houses. One of the people that owned it years ago was a homeopath doctor, and there was up to 500 of his patients visited 46 Station Street, Harris Park, so he could cure their illnesses. He died in that house in 1908 to a result of being struck by lightning. One of the previous owners of Hillcrest, he was our local doctor. He looked after a lot of the residents in Harris Park, and he was probably up to 50 years our local doctor. And the current owner boarded off with the family of Dr. Sheehy's family, and Mrs. Sheehy lived to 103 years old. Approaching number 46 Station Street, Harris Park, the house I grew up in. I'm currently standing outside number 48. All houses in Station Street are protected by the government, not ever to be interfered with or pulled down. I'm now approaching number 46. Is where I grew up in. The original house where I grew up in was built in 1879, and my father was about the fifth owner. He purchased the property in 1938. This too, unfortunately, this was pulled down before they put a covenant on it. It has a laneway off 80th Street, where my dad used to drive a truck onto this property. In 1891, a migrant by the name of German Charlie, his proper name was Dr. Carl Henry Bridgman, who got the nickname of German Charlie. He's a homeopath, and he used to up to 500 people a week used to come to this area, 46 Station Street, Harris Park, to be treated for their illnesses. He got struck by lightning on this property by a thunderball, which resulted to his death. He actually died on the original property in 46 Station Street, Harris Park. My father, 50 years later, he too got struck by lightning when he was driving his truck into the back of his property. My dad never got hurt, but he got shaken up. This is the only house that I knew where I lived in, and it's on a very historical piece of property. So when I was very young, about 10 or 11, this is where our front gate was. And we had a dog. And the dog got out one day and ran right up Station Street to the shops. And as the dog was turning the corner, my father come out and whistled. And the dog heard the whistle from right up the end of the street and come running back to Dad. Now, my dad dad owned both properties adjacent to either end of these terrace houses. They was built around 1884 and they was built by a company called Caroline Terraces. This terrace survived a little bit of the originality. It's still got the cast iron fence and the beautiful cast iron lacework. These two attached terraces are lucky. They've still got their lovely cast iron work on the veranda and the cast iron gate and the cast iron fence. I had a girlfriend who lived in this property, number 32, and she used to come down to our house, number 46, and look after my sister. When I got a bit late sometimes, I used to walk her home. We would both be about 13 years old. When we got to the gate, I'd give her a kiss on the collar, and then she'd walk up the staircase, look down at me, and say, "Good night, darling," blow me a kiss. And I done likewise to her. And then one night the father come out on the balcony. He looked down at me and he said, "Romeo, piss off. Juliet, go to bed." These two adjoining properties here, I remember the original owners real well. This one here was owned by Mrs. Roberts. The one on the right, number 24, was owned by Mrs. Spurlock. And they was original owners for years and years and years. That's all I've got to say about it. This laneway is off Ada Street, and it's the backyard laneway to where I lived in 46 Satan Street, Harris Park. All the old men with their horse and cars used to come up here and deliver their firewood, pick up bottles, bottloads, and it was a through road to Ada Street and Station Street. The shop behind me on the corner used to be the shop that I used to go to buy our local bread, milk and whatever, a small goods shop, just around the corner from where I lived in 46 Station Street, Harris Park. In front of me here is a laneway that goes back into 2nd Street, Harris Park. Standing on the entrance of a laneway, which runs up to the back yard of 46 2nd Street, Harris Park. I lived in 46 2nd Street, Harris Park, and my father used to drive his old 29 Chev truck up this laneway into the backyard, where he had a garage. Old Heinrich Frederick Brigham was buried at this gravesite in 1908. He was in his late 70s. Originally a migrant from Germany, and he lived at 40. And when he came to Australia, he lived at 46 Station Street, Harris Park, from 1891 to 1908. He lived in the house that I lived in, and he got struck by lightning, which killed him, and he died at 46 Station Street, Harris Park. He was a homeopath, and in his heyday, there was up to 500 people visited him at 46 Station Street, Harris Park, to have their remedies fixed.